All right, buckle up, folks. This divorce case is moving at lightning speed. Married in September, splitting up before the honeymoon phase even ends. And at the center of it all, a very expensive house that neither wants to give. Up. Let's see how this plays out.
Your Honor, if I could, I'm here on behalf of my client, Mr. Joseph Tootle. We filed a complaint for absolute divorce in this matter. It's a very, very short-term marriage. The parties were just married in September of 2023. And what we have, Your Honor, is that the crux of this case, and really the only asset of this marriage, comes down to the parties prior to their marriage purchased a home at 1047 Yellow Creek Highway. My client put down a significant down payment on the home. Well, the down payment was put prior to the marriage, and the purchase was right after the parties married. The property is approximately between $700,000 and $800,000 home, has a significant mortgage on it. What we're asking, Your Honor, is for exclusive possession of the home. Mrs. Botnick, again, this is a short-term marriage. Mrs. Botnick has 3 children from prior relationships. In fact, she was with child at the time of the parties' marriage that is not my client's child. And she has just finished another custody matter with that child's father. And again, she's not contributing financially. They purchased a vehicle that she is driving, and we are asking that she and the children, and she's allowed her mother, a Miss Carol Ledford, to move in.
Okay, pause for a second. If you're the judge here, what would you do? Does she have a right to stay in the house since her name is on the deed? Or does he have a point since he paid the down payment? Let me know in the comments.
The home also. So there's 6 people cohabitating in this home, and my client is having to pay all of meet the financial responsibility of the home. So it's our request that she be ordered to vacate the premises, or in the alternative, given the fact that herself, her 3 children, and her mother are living there, that my client pays 1/6 and she pays 5/6 of all the expenses associated with the home. The home, again, we're going to have an issue. The home has just been purchased. It's very unlikely that there's significant equity. She is not in a position, it's our claim that she's not in a position to buy my client out of the home or get the home refinanced into her own name. But she is not contributing, and she has now begun having extramarital relations, and as a result of that, we want her out of the house.
Your Honor, just briefly, parties were married September 4th, 2023. The home that they currently reside in was purchased, conveyed to both of them as husband and wife, Joseph Tootle and Jordan Botnick, by warranty deed executed September 26, 2023, recorded with the Register of Deeds September 29th, 2023. The approximate purchase price was $800,000. 20% was paid down, which is approximately $160,000. Mr. Tootle makes a significantly higher income than Ms. Botnick. With respect to her children who live there, Mr. Tootle was fully aware that Ms. Botnick had children when they married, fully aware that they would be moving into the residence, and with respect to Ms. Botnick's mother, he agreed that she could move into the residence. Our position, Your Honor, is that the house is a marital residence. Mr. Tootle has significantly more income than Ms. Botnick, and we have filed before the court today is a motion to sell the marital residence, and we would propose that upon its sale, the net proceeds be paid into court, and then we can proceed with the divorce in that regard. But I would submit to the court, there's no basis to grant Mr. Tootle exclusive possession of the marital home. Ms. Bachnick's name is on the deed, it's a marital asset, and submit that she's entitled to reside there just as much as he is.
Imagine marrying someone, putting their name on your house, and then, boom, next thing you know, they're trying to sell it out from under you. If that's not a cautionary tale, I don't know what is.
State your name, please, ma'am.
Jordan Lindsay Bachnick,
And Ms. Boddick, where do you work?
Envision Healthcare.
And what do you do for Envision Healthcare?
I'm an AP specialist.
And
Well,
what,
please scoot up a little bit towards that
Sorry.
microphone so we make sure it's picking
I'm
up.
an AP specialist,
and what does that mean?
accounts payable. I work for the same company as Joseph.
And what is your rate of pay?
22 an hour.
You work 40 hours a week,
Yes, ma'am.
and you have 3 children by how many different men?
3.
And how much child support do you get?
I get child support 1 kid and $697.
$697 for what child?
1 child, and I don't get child support from the other 2.
What child do you get the 190?
Sailor, the
Okay.
baby.
And who is Sailor's father?
Nick Ellis.
And that's your youngest child?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were in fact pregnant with Sailor at the time that you married?
No,
Or right after you had just had the child?
I just had him. He was born in June, and I got married in September.
Okay. And what sort, you have just settled a lawsuit on paternity with Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Roughly 7 years.
And do y'all work at the same
We do.
company?
We do.
And what is your role at the company, at Envision?
I'm VP of Accounting Information Systems.
Were you her direct supervisor?
No,
And here we have the classic plot twist. The husband might have actually financed his own downfall. He paid for her attorney in a custody case with another man. Talk about playing 4D chess against yourself.
And y'all became acquainted through your employment, is that correct?
I knew her prior to employment. I helped her get the job.
Okay, how did you know her prior to the employment?
I met her at her work when she worked at Twin Peaks.
At where?
Twin Peaks
Twin Peaks is a bar
Bar and Restaurant.
and restaurant, and we'll just leave it, why the name of that, but at any rate, you met her there and got her a job. Did y'all start a romantic relationship at that point in time?
I helped her get a job probably about 2 years ago. We kind of hung out some in between there, from time of meeting till she got the job at our company.
And when did y'all become romantically involved?
Throughout the time I've known her, different instances.
And she was having relations with other people during that time too?
Section leading.
Correct.
And you,
Well, the question is, sustained, it was leading, restretch your question.
are you aware of whether or not, did y'all have an exclusive relationship?
We did not.
At what point in time did marriage come into the picture?
Roughly somewhere in July, after she'd had her child.
Okay. Did you ask her to marry, or was it just a, hey, let's do this? I mean, what was the?
We decided to date, and then as we started dating, we decided that after knowing each other for a period of time, that was the right move to make at that time, because she stated she was in love and wanted to be with me.
Okay. And as a result of that, where were you living at the time?
In Franklin
And where was she living?
and Dixon.
And did she have a home?
She had an apartment.
And did you have a home?
I did.
One that you owned?
No, sorry, I was in an apartment as well.
Okay, you rented and she rented. is
She
that
rented and I
correct?
rented, correct.
Okay. And so y'all decided to get in, she professed her love and you hers, and y'all decided to get married, and you start looking for a place to live.
Started looking for a place prior to that, somewhere in July. We talked about looking for a place, so we were looking prior to being married.
Okay. And you found a home on Yellow Creek Highway,
Correct.
okay? And it's a very nice home. And y'all purchased, did you enter into a contract prior
And
to?
don't leave it with us.
When did you enter into a contract to purchase the property?
In August, and I put down earnest money in August.
How much did you put down?
It's $10,000 in earnest money
And then when was the closing scheduled?
for September 26th,
And y'all married when?
September 4th.
And on the 26th, was there a closing on that piece of property?
Correct, there
Was
was.
it placed in joint names?
Yes,
Was there money put down on the house?
roughly 160 plus the 10,000
And where was the source of that money?
came from my income. 120 was in savings, 40 I took a loan against my 401k.
Is there still a loan on the 401k?
Yes. Comes out of my paycheck month.
How much did y'all purchase the home for?
It was 760,
And what is the monthly payments?
4,200. That doesn't include insurance and taxes.
And that's going to be my next. Was insurance and taxes escrowed in?
It was not escrowed in.
So other than when you purchased it in September, the down payment that you made, are you familiar with any other increases in value or any improvements to the property that's been made that would increase it significantly from what the purchase price was?
There's been no improvements to the property.
Did both of you sign the mortgage?
I'm the only one on the mortgage.
Do you know why?
It was better to qualify for interest rate under my income than using both.
So even though
That's
the
what-
house is in joint names, the mortgage is only in your name?
Correct.
Now, shortly at, you know how much she makes?
Roughly
What is that?
around 22. I think when she got the job it was around 21, and there's been raises since then.
And how much do you make, sir?
Around to 190,
You've assisted me,
and
in-
that's without bonus, but bonus isn't guaranteed, so
you have assisted me in filling out an income and expense statement, is that correct?
that's correct.
Would you pass this to him? The officer's gonna pass you one, and Your Honor, we'll mark this for ID purposes at this point in time. If you review that, does that adequately and reflect what what your income and your expenses are?
Yes,
So again, what you're looking at is you gross about $14,000 a month, is that right?
yes,
And then the expenses that are spelled out, the rent, the mortgage is $4,200, is that correct?
that's correct.
And how did you come up with the utilities? Are those just an average of what?
That was the average of what we'd had thus far, but again, this was in January, so there's only a couple of months to average it.
Right, so again, you've got the electricity and the gas, you have gas heat, correct?
We have gas, electric, water, yes.
Okay, and so again, with the summer and the air conditioning things, those are likely to go up, is that correct? Do you
So
know
you're
what
gonna
the,
leave the with
I'll
us.
rephrase it. Do you think that these will be consistent or will they fluctuate?
So let's get this straight. She didn't contribute to the down payment, the mortgage, or the utilities. But somehow, she believes she's entitled to the house. Ah, the Entitlement Olympics has a new gold medalist.
Gas will probably go down, electric will probably go up.
Why have you got wife's telephone? Is that just
At the time I filed, I was paying her phone bill. She used my credit card multiple times after I'd paid it once
Okay.
to pay it.
And then again, the rest of these are average expenses, is that right?
That's right. And the only thing on here I haven't been paying is the Tahoe. I stopped paying it in January.
And that's the 1,050, and that's the vehicle
correct.
she's driving. Had you previously paid it?
I'd been paying it since we bought it.
And when was it purchased?
We purchased it in August.
Right before the marriage?
Right before the marriage.
Whose name is it in?
It's in both of our names because she couldn't qualify on her own for it
Okay.
with
And
with a good interest rate.
okay. And so again, looking at that, you're basically barely breaking even if you take away the $1,000.
I was until she started paying her bills.
Okay, until she started paying her bills. Okay. Tell me what's led to you file, Your Honor, we'll move that in as the next exhibit.
What is, this
What's
is the
led you-
first exhibit, is it not?
Yes, that first one. What's led to you filing this divorce, sir?
We started having issues in October, which was relatively shortly after being married. She even told me that her therapist and her discovered that through their therapy that she wasn't really in love with me, and that she wanted consistency and stability for her kids, and thought that she could love me over time. At that point in time, we talked about getting a divorce. We tried to work it out multiple times, and we kind of wound up back at the same spot.